This is KSL Sports Live, broadcasting from the Mountain Home Services studios.
Time, 5 down to 4. Got it! A busted play! Hawks don't have a timeout. Trey from midcourt to win it.
Oh, man, do you remember that one? That was the last time the Jazz faced the Hawks. Trae Young hit that half-court buzzer beater at Delta Center 3 months ago.
The rematch was Sunday. Thanks for staying up with this. The latest on the Utah Hockey Club straight ahead, and we check in on spring football with the Utes and Cougars.
Chiefs head coach Andy Reid was in town this weekend. He shared his thoughts on Kyle Whittingham, Kalani Sitake, and the retirement of his old teammate, Tom Homo.
Well, let's start in Atlanta, where the Jazz wrap up a 5-game road trip Sunday with just 4 games left in the worst season in franchise history.
Yeah, the Jazz, they're assured of the first season ever in franchise history with less than 20 wins. They've also assured themselves of the best lottery odds possible, 14%, and a 51.2% odds of a top 4 pick in the June draft.
That's all good, but the losing sucks. So with all that done, this team is just trying to finish the season. Keontae George is determined to finish the season strong. He had a career day against the Hawks. He was 10 of 19 from the field off the bench, 7 of 13 from 3. He finished with a career high 35 points in 34 minutes on the court. He had 22 by halftime. As a team, the Jazz were 20 of 47 from 3. That's 42.6%. They shot the ball well. Utah Jazz new rookie assist leader, Isaiah Collier, is an Atlanta native. Plenty of friends and family on hand to support him. He added to that assist mark with 12 more against the Hawks. He finished with 17 points in a tough one there. It was also a homecoming for Colin Sexton. He's from Marietta, Georgia. He had a big game too, 9 of 16 shooting, 3 of 6 from 3, 27 points, 5 rebounds, 6 assists. He also played good defense, 2 steals. He led the Jazz in minutes played with 37. But not everybody played good defense. The Jazz once again struggled to defend, and the Hawks racked up a lot of points, 81 by halftime. They had 119 by the end of the third. Trae Young was 4 of 9 from 3 and had 23 points and 15 assists. Number 1 overall pick, Zachary Rizichet, continues to make his Rookie of the Year case. He had 16. The Jazz hoping to have their own number 1 overall pick this summer, but for now, the Jazz have the worst overall record in the NBA. They've lost 9 straight and 19 of 20, and they've allowed 140 or more points in 3 consecutive games, according to Ben Anderson, our friend at KSLSports.com. It's the first time that has happened in 35 years and only 5 times ever. This season can't end soon enough. The Utah Jazz have locked down a bottom 3 record, which gives them a 14% odds to win the lottery, and as we said, 51.2% chance of a top 4 pick.
Well, elsewhere in the NBA today, LeBron and the Lakers taking on SGA and the Thunder. First quarter, LeBron backs down and hits the fadeaway jumper. How about Luka Doncic starting to feel it early? He hits the nice step-back 3. Then he's going to get this runner to fall plus the foul. He had 14 points in the first quarter. Third quarter, more Luka magic. Drives inside, flips in the tough circus shot and the foul. Lakers close it out with LeBron getting the steal and the hammer at the other end. Luka had 30, 7 rebounds, 6 assists, and a 27-point win.
The Sacramento Kings visiting the Cleveland Cavaliers. First quarter, an errant pass from Jarrett Allen puts the Kings on the fast break, which is going to turn into an alley-oop for Zach LaVine, and that's what he does best. And right before halftime, LaVine to Keon Ellis. He launches from half court. Bang! We go to the fourth quarter. LaVine gets going. Hits the 3 to put the Kings up by 2. And then LaVine drives, gets the bucket before the shot clock expires. He would finish with 37 points, 11 in the fourth. A rare loss for the Cavs. The Kings win 120-113. They're now 9th in the West.
In Denver, the Nuggets were hosting the Pacers. Nikola Jokic is on a tear right now. Cuts to the basket, throws it down. Then on the next possession, pulls up for 3. He knocks that one down. He had 21 just in the first quarter. Second quarter, Jokic collects the rebound, gets the putback and the foul. He would have 29 by halftime. Third quarter, more Jokic continuing to dominate. He spins off the defender for the easy 2. Jokic would finish with a 41-point triple-double, but It didn't matter. It wasn't enough to top the Pacers. Miles Turner led 6 Pacers in double figures. They got the win on the road, 125-120.
To get Ovi open. Here's a pass, Ovechkin scores! The Great Eight stand side by side with the Great One.
Chasing a king, Alex Ovechkin lit the lamp twice on Friday night against the Blackhawks. 41 goals this season at that point, third best in the NHL, and that second goal put him in that tie with the Great One, Wayne Gretzky, for the all-time goal-scoring lead in the NHL at 894 career goals.
That was a record that once stood and was thought to be unbreakable, right? Wayne Gretzky retired in 1999 with 283 more goals than the next closest active player, who at that time was an aging Mark Messier.
Yeah, Alexander Ovechkin came into the league 6 years after Gretzky retired, and with 52 goals in his rookie year, he started out on a quest that led him to where we are today, the crowning of a new goal-scoring king.
Send in Wilson on the flank. Cross ice. Ovechkin fires. Score! The chasing days are done! Alex Ovechkin is the greatest goal scorer in the history of the NHL.
There it is. It took 1,487 games for Gretzky to score 894 goals. It takes Ovechkin 1,487 games to break his record. Goal number 895 for Ovi, the NHL's new goal-scoring king. The Great One, Wayne Gretzky himself, was in attendance for the historic occasion.
This it's something crazy, and I just said it, I'm probably going to need a couple more days or maybe a couple weeks to realize what does it mean to be number one. But I'm very proud for it myself. I'm very proud for my family, for all my teammates that helped me to reach that milestone.
What a remarkable feat. Well, Utah goalie Karel Vejmelka, he made his 20th straight start on Saturday against the Jets. That streak is the longest for an NHL goalkeeper in the past 6 seasons. And he didn't even look tired in Utah's Friday night win against the Jets. Vejmelka stopped 32 of 33 shots that he faced against the league's top team. That's a .969 save percentage. He also allowed 1 goal in 2 of the last 3 starts and 2 or fewer goals in 4 of his last 5 appearances, posting a 3-1-1 record during that span with a .983 save percentage. And the Utah fans have very much taken notice, not only chanting Veggie each night at Delta Center, but also showing their appreciation on Saturday by throwing broccoli out onto the ice after the win.
Thanks. Thank you guys. Obviously, it's a great feeling, I guess, especially against the best team of the league. So, yeah, we deserve it. We play really well all 60 minutes. So it was a great game, obviously. And thank you guys. It was special night for us.
They need a lot of help, starting with the Wild. Today hosting the Stars, third period, Stars leading 1-0. Ryan Hartman's shot blocked, but Matt Boldy there for the rebound. Then less than 2 minutes later, Marcus Foligno lights the lamp for the 2-1 lead. 7 minutes left to play in the period. Thomas Harley deflects it off the Wild defender for the equalizer. We're headed overtime. Wild on the power play. Some great puck movement. Ends with Rossi deflecting the puck in for the win. The Wild now at 91 points. Remember, Utah can only get to 92 if they win out and get 2 points in every game.
Yeah, Canucks loss would be welcomed by the Utah fan base, I'm sure. They were hosting the Golden Knights. Less than 4 minutes to play in the game. William Karlsson finds Victor Olofsson in front of the net, lights the lamp. Vegas takes the 3-2 lead with 3:14 left. The Knights do Utah hockey a favor. They keep the Canucks from getting any points in the standings. So this is where we're at. 9 points now is the gap between Utah and a spot in the playoffs. If the Wild pick up just 1 more point over their final 4 games, Utah will be eliminated. Utah also cannot lose any of their final 5 games. Next up for Utah, they host the Kraken on Tuesday night. The Wild will be hosting the Sharks on Wednesday.
All right, there's been a number of interesting storylines so far in the Major League Baseball season, as young as it is. The Yankees torpedo bats, an 8-1 start by the Giants, who saw that coming, and a 1-8 start by the Braves.
Yeah, and then on Sunday, Vlad Guerrero Jr. and the Blue Jays agreed to a 14-year, $500 million deal, an extension to his contract. Wow. Sunday was also about the walk-off. We witnessed 4 of those. Let's start it off in Pittsburgh. The Pirates hosting the Yankees. Bottom of the fourth, Pirates leading 3-1. Isaiah Kiner-Falefa ropes one to the gap in left center. That extends the lead to 4-1 for the Bucks. Ninth inning, Yanks rally back. Trent Grisham slaps a single to right. 2-run score to tie the game at 4. We go to extras in the 11th. Runner on third, 1 out. The outfield playing up to prevent the run, but Tommy Pham sends it to the track. That's your walk-off single. Pirates take it 5-4.
St. Louis Cardinals, Boston Red Sox playing a doubleheader due to the rain delay yesterday. Game 1, bottom of the 5th. Red Sox Rafael Devers puts the Red Sox ahead with his first home run of the season. We go to the top of the 8th, game tied at 2. Pedro Pages gives the Cardinals the lead with a RBI double. Boston would tie things in the 9th. We go to the bottom of the 10th. Wilyer Abreu sends his ball towards the Green Monster, and that is his first walk-off. The Red Sox win both.
All right, let's keep the walk-off theme going. We go to Arlington, Rangers hosting the Rays. 1 for Jonah Heim.
And Heim shoots it out to center. That's down, base hit. Here comes Smith. He'll score! And the Rangers have won it in the bottom of the 9th inning.
Yeah, the Rangers are now 8-2. Best record in the American League.
All right, we got to take a short break. More from the NBA and Major League Baseball when we return.
And college football, too. Spring practices continuing up at the U.
I mean, we got tight ends over here. I don't know what they had in New Mexico, but, we got tight ends over here.
Early reports on new quarterback Devin Dampier outstanding. Landon King tells us all we need to know after 3 weeks. And Nate Johnson, happy to be back on the hill, too.
Well, we stay in contact, and he's a phenomenal football coach.
What was Andy Reid doing in Utah? Hear him talk about Kalani, Kyle, and Tom Holmoe next.
You are watching KSL Sports Live.
Yeah, KSL Sports Live comes back in the majors. More from the Bigs. The Twins built a 7-1 lead after 4 innings, but the Astros dig back. And in the 9th, Yordan Alvarez unloads a 2-run homer to right to tie the game at 7. Sends this one to extra innings. In the 10th, after a Jose Altuve single for the lead, it's a double steal. Altuve takes second. Jake Myers heads for home. He's ruled safe. That was a close call, but he swipes home, and the Astros win on the road 9-7.
On a serious note, it's been a tough week in the world, especially financially. Markets off to their worst start to a quarter since 2008. You might remember what happened back then. Markets this morning in Asia have plunged, and U.S. stocks have lost $6.6 trillion in just 2 days after President Trump announced it's a deep drive to left field. Nick Castellanos with a bases-loaded grand slam. Castellanos, his 8th career grand slam. The Phillies take 2 of 3 from the Dodgers. The only Dodgers losses this season. Sad day for Dodgers fans. All right. In recent Utah football history, the Utes have cranked out some great playmaking tight ends. Dalton Kincaid, of course, is now with the Buffalo Bills. And now Brant Kuithe hopes to be the next NFL tight end from Utah.
All right, well, who's next up on the hill? It could be Landon King's turn to fill the void that those two have left behind. King played the first 2 years of his college football career in the SEC with Auburn. He played just 11 games, scored 1 touchdown in that time. Then he came to Utah in 2023, where he had 14 catches for 166 yards and 3 scores that season, before seeing just a little bit of a fall off last season. 3 catches for 54 yards and a score. Well, this spring, he's already been emerging as the go-to target at his position. A career season that could be on the horizon. But more than that, King says he just wants to win a conference title.
Landon's done a nice job. He's put some weight on. He's about 10 pounds heavier than he was last year, so that's helped him. And he's kind of a hybrid. He's not really a true hand-in-the-dirt tight end, and he's not really a true H-back mover. He's a tweener. But I think we're using him in a lot of good ways and doing some different things with him.
Obviously, everybody wants to catch the ball, score touchdowns. But honestly, I'm trying to get that Big 12 championship and get a chance in this playoffs. This is my last year, in college football. So really just taking advantage of this as a team aspect of it. I've never won a championship in my football career. So, being able to come out here, and work towards that goal, that's what's been keeping me going.
We mentioned some of the past playmaking tight ends at the U in Saturday's team scrimmage at Rice Eccles. Landon King caught multiple passes from his new quarterback, Devin Dampier, including multiple touchdowns. King thinks that having playmakers at his position is probably something Dampier didn't have at New Mexico.
Well, I mean, we got tight ends over here. You know, I don't know what they had in New Mexico, but, you know, we got tight ends over here. So, you know, the thing with Coach Beck's offense, like, the playmakers are going to make plays. Playmakers are going to get put in the spot. So if you're a playmaker, you know, you're going to get put in that spot. So.
Former BYU Cougar Andy Reid, he's going to go down as one of the all-time great head coaches in NFL history. He has coached 6 teams in the Super Bowl. He's won 3 of those. You can take Reid out of Utah, but you can't take his Utah connections out of him, right? Reid was back in Utah this weekend as a special guest for the Governor's State of Sport Awards. He keeps close tabs on what's going on in the Beehive State, the growth of professional sports with the addition of the NHL team this past year. Of course, Utah's Rose Bowl trips in recent years, BYU's success in the Big 12, the Jazz on the path to their rebuild, and the return of the Olympics to Utah. He's noticed all of it, and he said it's unbelievable what is happening in this state for sports.
I think it's great for the city. You know, I can't put a negative at all on it. I just think it's so positive. The hockey team being the latest addition, just unbelievable that the future just looks great. The basketball team has been great, and they'll continue on with that, I know. But just to have all the different venues, I think, is great for the fans and the sports fanatics of Salt Lake City and Utah here.
Yeah, but of course, Reid is a football guy first, and he's not shy about how much he loves his alma mater, BYU, and the success that they've been having under head coach Kalani Sitake. But he's also kept a close eye on his former BYU teammate, Kyle Whittingham, and the remarkable career that he's had at the U. He gave praise to both of them for what they've done for their respective programs.
Yeah, I'm a big Kalani fan. Yeah, I love the way he goes about his business. Tremendous person, great recruiter. He's got a huge venue here that he's entering with, you know, with the new conference. But they sure did a nice job with it last year, and I know he'll build off of that going forward here. If Kyle comes back and visits, and or if I'm out here, I have a chance to visit with him. So we stay in contact, and he's a phenomenal football coach. He's got a great mind, and the things he's done at this university here in Salt Lake City is just it's been incredible. It'd be very hard to copy that going forward.
Back to the NBA. Can the Wizards out-tank the Utah Jazz? They were visiting the Boston Celtics. Third quarter, the Celtics would go on a 19-0 run. Jaylen Brown hits the 3 from the right wing. Then Al Horford from up top. There's 3 more. Sam Hauser caps things off with a 3 of his own. Boston wins easily, 124-90.
Two teams going in opposite directions. The Bulls fighting for playoff position. The Hornets, lottery position. The Bulls open up a big lead with the second quarter run. Kobe White ends the half with a buzzer beater from 45 feet. Bulls led by 20 at the half. The Jazz passed on Modest Bazelis in the draft, took Cody Williams instead. This is what they missed out on. He's crazy athletic. Bulls just 2 back of 7th in the East.
Milwaukee Bucks taking on the New Orleans Pelicans. Second quarter. Kevin Porter Jr. gets the steal. He finishes with the dunk at the other end. The game's tied at 53. Fourth quarter now. Porter Jr. another steal. I bet you know what the result is here. How about another dunk? He finished with 20 points and 8 rebounds. The Bucks beat the Pelicans 111-107.
Your latest lottery standings update. I hope we never have to do this again on the show. The Jazz with the worst record in the NBA by a game and a half over the Wizards. The Jazz again have clinched a bottom 3 record, which means a 14% lottery odds. The Hornets have a 2-game lead over the Pelicans for those same odds.
Well, you know, it was all the way back in 1985 that John Stockton dished out 415 assists in his rookie season. No one would have predicted then that he would go on to finish with an NBA record 15,806 assists for his career. But that was the start of it all right here in this video. And it was then a Jazz rookie record for assists in a single season. You know, it really wasn't a record that we thought anything of until now, because it was a record that Jazz rookie guard Isaiah Collier was now threatening to break earlier this week. This week against the Hornets, Collier was able to dish out 7 assists, which was enough to pass Stockton, setting the Jazz new rookie record for assists in a single season. A record that will continue to grow, of course, between now and the season's end. His 12 assists today now has him at 446 on the season, and it's his 11th double-double, which is third most by a rookie in Jazz history.
All right, there was a void to fill for Real Salt Lake this season. A face for the franchise, a star player. Well, Diego Luna wants to fill that void. The 21-year-old winger is off to a great start this season and has done so. It continued Saturday in Real Salt Lake's 2-0 win over the defending MLS Cup champions, the LA Galaxy. Luna scored not once but twice in the win. He scored his brace in a 5-minute span in the first half. His first was in the 21st minute, goal number 2 in the 26th. That's RSL. That's all they would need thanks to a shutout by goalkeeper Rafael Cabral. The victory keeps the Galaxy winless on the season. Head coach Pablo Mastroni loves what he sees from his young star.
What I saw was a guy that wanted to fight for the team. I saw a guy that was making slide tackles, double back pressing. I saw a guy that was just engaged and wanted to win the game tonight. To put 2 goals on top of that, I think speaks volumes of where he's going with his career. It was an inspired performance, and I think he sees what lies before him if he keeps in this form. So I couldn't be happier for Diego Luna.
All right, let's hit up the final round at the Texas Open today on the PGA Tour. It was this kind of weekend for Tony Finau. The putt nowhere near the cup. Finau finished 5 over for the tournament, tied for 56th. He takes home $22,000 for the weekend. Shot of the day, Gary Woodland out of the trap on 14, gets up and down and in for eagle. Brian Harman had the 36 and 54-hole lead, a lead he would not surrender. He was 3 over for the round, but still won by 3 shots. He takes home $1.7 million for the win.
Wow, nice weekend. And another sign of the growth of hockey in Utah. Congratulations to the Ogden Junior Mustangs 14U team. They won the USA Hockey Youth Tier 2 14U National Championship in Kalamazoo, Michigan. A 3-1 victory over the Vegas Junior Golden Knights. Crew Krieger finished the tournament with 16 goals and 21 points. They are the first team in Utah to ever win a championship at that competition.
Ballpark coming up on Tuesday. But before then, one more on the road against the Albuquerque Isotopes today. Top second, Zach Neto gets a hold of his second homer of the season. The Bees would actually build a 7-0 lead, but the Topes came all the way back. The game was tied at 8 in the top of the 9th. Sebastian Rivero drops a hit down into right center for the go-ahead run. The Bees get a nice win to cap off the road trip 9-8. On the football field, Utah has 6 quarterbacks on the spring football roster. One of those that is drawing a lot of attention is the return of Nate Johnson to the U. Johnson spent last season at Vanderbilt after his first 2 seasons with the Utes. So why did he choose to come back? Well, he trusts Coach Witt, and he's embracing new versatile responsibilities.
Playing a different role. I came back to play the athlete role, being the Swiss Army knife, doing the quarterback, pretty much doing everything. And I'm really glad to be back here. Coach Witt has that trust in me and to be a Swiss Army knife, and he trusted me to come back here and be a playmaker. So, obviously there's new coaches, new players, and so far it's been a good 6 practices.
Carson Ryan grew up in the shadow of Lavelle Edwards Stadium. He played 3 years of high school football in Provo at Timpview before finishing at American Fork. And after a long college football journey took him from UCLA and to Utah last season, Carson is now back home in Utah County and now a BYU Cougar. KSL Sports BYU insider Mitch Harper caught up with the newest Cougar tight end.
I don't know if it made me hesitate, but I thought about it. I was like, well, I came out of high school, went to UCLA for 2 years, so I feel like only having 1 year at Utah didn't make me as connected to it and worried about the transition to the rival school. But I knew I'm gonna come to BYU and people aren't gonna be happy about it. And surprisingly, there's a lot of good feedback though from Utah fans. It wasn't that much hate, and everybody's gonna get that transferring twice. So there was gonna be some comments, but it's been a lot of good feedback from both fan bases, BYU and Utah, and that's it just makes me excited to play for this school and play Utah again this next season, the rivalry game. It was such a fun game last year, and so I'm excited to be on BYU side this year. Hopefully we can get another victory in that game. So,
how excited are you for that game in October?
I'm super excited. It's gonna be a fun game. I got a lot of friends in that Utah team now after being there last season, and so hopefully we can get this win and have the bragging rights over them. And
were you excited when Keanu came as well?
Yeah, no, I remember coming here and then seeing him into the portal. I was like, oh, it'd be great if we can get Keanu to come here. But then I was like, I don't know like how much he's thinking about BYU. And I talked to him a little bit, but he didn't really give me much info. And I don't blame him. I don't expect him to tell me where he's going in the transfer portal without announcing it. So he was, I was like, well, I hope he comes here, but who knows? He's gonna get some big offer like Oregon or Alabama. And then we got him. And I told him, I was like, hey, BYU is a great spot, and like, you know, they gonna be a high-level program. Like we're gonna have so much here that you can't get other places, and things that you get there you can get here at this school, because it's, you know, BYU's got so much to offer now, being in the Big 12, and you know, football-wise, you got such a great coaching staff for you to grow as a player, and then off-field-wise too, like connections you can make, like the alumni circle you can have here, and you know, your degree is gonna be worth so much here coming to BYU compared to other schools, and so I feel like. And then when he finally committed to BYU, I was like, oh, that's a great get for us. So in the portal, they kind of gave me the whole rundown of like, you know, what to expect from BYU and things that we can offer you. And I was like, well, it's just so many opportunities here, like on the field and off the field. And so I was like, you know, I wish I could have been able to spend more time at this school. You know, I don't never regret places I've been, and you know, you never want to like wish I could turn back time, because you know, you just gotta hindsight's 20 and just keep moving forward and do what you can with what you got. And so great for both the time I spent at both those schools over UCLA and Utah.
Well, once upon a time, Andy Reid and Tom Holmoe were teammates under Lavelle Edwards down at BYU. After finishing their days playing for the Cougars, their paths that would cross again in the NFL. Reid was actually an assistant on Bill Walsh's staff with the 49ers, where Holmoe was playing as a safety at the time. Reid's career, of course, has led him to multiple Super Bowl wins and the fourth most wins by a head coach in NFL history. Holmoe's career took him into coaching for a bit, but eventually led him to 20 years as BYU's athletic director. Now that Holmoe's career is coming to an end, Reid, who was in town this weekend for the Utah State of Sports Awards, had nothing but praise for what Holmoe has done down at BYU.
I have a ton of respect for Tom. I had a lot of respect for him as a player. You know, I was lucky enough to be with him when he was at the 49ers. I was at San Francisco State University. And I knew he wanted to become an athletic director, and I tried to steer him into becoming a coach, and he did that, and he did well at that, and then he decided to get back into what he really wanted to be in. That was being an athletic director, and he's had a phenomenal career. The things he's done for BYU are just off the charts. I'm so glad that he stuck around to let him guide them into that new phase with that new conference.
The BYU women's basketball program got some great news this week. Superstar freshman Delaney Gibb announced on social media that she will be returning for her sophomore season. Gibb was named a unanimous Big 12 Freshman of the Year, averaging 17.4 points per game. And here's one of the reasons why she's coming back. She will undoubtedly be a key piece in the Cougars program under new leadership next season.
Yeah, this week the school introduced Lee Cummard as the new head coach for BYU women's basketball. Down in Provo, Cummard served as the associate head coach for the past 3 seasons under Amber Whiting. He was also on Jeff Judkin's staff since 2019. Now he becomes the 8th head coach in program history. In 2021, Cummard stepped in as interim head coach actually for 3 games while Coach Judkins was out with COVID. Cummard led the Cougars to wins in all 3 of those games. He also played for the BYU men's basketball team from 2005 to 2009. He was named the Mountain West Co-Player of the Year in 2008, and he's the Cougars' 16th all-time leading scorer.
Excellence is the expectation, and that's how we do everything. It's in our mindset, it's in our approach to things, it's in our preparation, it's how we work. That's the expectation, and they know that, and they're wanting that. I would imagine it looks a lot like how I played. Scrappy, tough, work ethics there. Tom talked about competitiveness. We're going to have all of that, and you're going to be able to see that.
BYU guard Dallin Hall announced on his Instagram that he is entering the transfer portal. In his message, he said, in part, while this decision has been very difficult, I know my time at BYU has prepared me well for the next chapter in my basketball journey. Hall averaged 6.8 points last season, the lowest in his 3-year career, and 4.2 assists while shooting 35% from three-point range, and fans will never forget that dunk.
Yeah, a key player to the Utah men's basketball team may not be back next season. Ezra Asar has announced that he's entering the transfer portal. Asar was second on the Utes in scoring this past season with a career-high 12.5 points per game. He was also second in rebounds with 5 per game. We'll be right back. This this week, A.J. DeBanza was playing in the 2025 McDonald's All-America game. A.J. is the first McDonald's All-American repping BYU since Garner Meade did it back in the year 2000. And DeBanza got off to a pretty good start. Quickly and emphatically, in fact, putting points on the board with high percentage dunks. A.J. started and finished the game with dunks, of course. He looks every bit like the real deal as the top recruit in the nation. DeBanza finished the game with 17 points and 5 rebounds.
Let's not stop the McDonald's fun there. Ridgeline's Emily Skinner, arguably the greatest high school basketball player on the women's side in this state's history. It took Skinner less than a minute into the game to produce the highlight of the night. What a play, saving the ball from going out of bounds, but she did so behind the back. And Skinner with 6 assists in the first half. In the second half, Sienna Betts to Skinner for the give-and-go layup. Then Skinner caps off her night with the tough and one bucket. Great performance by Skinner as she prepares to play for the Duke Blue Devils next season. Of course, they went on a deep run in the NCAA tournament, so congratulations to Emily on a great performance in the McDonald's All-America game. You can read about her, A.J. DeBanza, and a lot more on the KSL Sports app. Have a good week.